I was going to say is, in the midst of the billions of websites and hundreds of millions of news sites, if we took a call right now, you would find out that most people still go to these certain platforms. People don't go to, there's nobody that regularly goes to up to 100 websites, regularly, nobody. Except maybe your job is to regularly go to more than 100 websites. So in the midst of the numbers, in the midst of the explosion in the people that disseminate media, there are still trusted platforms. There are old ones that continue to, because of their pedigree, people continue to go to them. There are new ones that are beginning to build their own pedigree. So in the midst of that, these ones will still make mistakes, but those platforms with the pedigree will always determine what goes forward. So you join Twitter, for instance, you're likely going to follow Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC. You're unlikely to follow an average citizen platform like myself, because those ones have built the pedigree. Over time, the other people that find the citizen journalists that came on are now building their own pedigree. I wanted to mention a particular platform, but I'd rather not mention it for political reasons. But there are citizen platforms that are already building that pedigree already. So eventually, the platforms that are intentionally putting out wrong news will just die out naturally. Again, I'm not going to mention it, but you just eventually discover that these people are intentionally about putting the wrong news out there. I'll give an example, Breaking Times in Nigeria. Eventually, a platform like that would not exist because people would see that this is about intentionally putting the wrong news out. Premium Times, for instance, may get one or two things wrong, but you know their intentions about getting things right. So those ones will be around for a while. The things that have sustained the good platforms will guide the new ones to continue, and eventually the realities of capitalism and people going for what works will determine who survives or who dies.
I'd like to see a situation where there's guidelines from the early stages of individualism, where you let people understand how to use the internet. Because say, for instance, you have people who are radio anchors, for instance. There is guidelines on how to broadcast, what not to broadcast, what to say, how to dress up in front of TV and all that kind of stuff. If that is not treated from the very, very grassroots, then you will grow up having people just throw whatever online. Now, online you have consumers of information, and you have people who actually make use of information they consume. You have a bunch of people who read stuff and just take it in and go, XYZ is dead. They do nothing about it. But you have people who run with what they've read and not confirm it and just, go around spreading stories. There was a story of an artist who supposedly died 3 weeks ago, Skibi, or I don't know, I can't remember his name, but yeah. That apparently stemmed from his management deliberately. Now, if there is guidelines to how to go about media online, I think we would have less cases of people, spreading false stories. And if there are implications for what you throw out there without thinking of what you're causing. Take for instance, News of the World. They found themselves in a lot of trouble, and it ended up having them shut down. So if people know that there are sanctions like that would be implicated, that would be thrown onto them if they throw on false stuff, then I think it would change how people throw on false stuff online. So that's my take on it. I think it should be grassroots, embedded.
It's not really about the media. In the U.S., we had what has become one of the most famous sagas in human history, which was the Salem witch hunting episode, where a lot of young children went around claiming that very respected people in society were wizards and witches. It ended up creating a huge amount of chaos in Salem, Massachusetts. And many people were hanged or burnt, etc. They didn't have radio then. They didn't have the internet then. Look at racism. We've had racism in many years before the internet. We had Jim Crow laws in the US. A lot of these very bad ideas spread. Ideas are memes, they spread. The only way to counter bad ideas is to use competition of better ideas. An attempt to impose regulation from the center or from the top with a view of suppressing bad content merely leads to a situation where you have gatekeepers, people whose values at that time are dominant and therefore insist that this is clean and this is not clean.
Absolutely.
There was a time we had a military dictatorship in my country and in this country as well. During that period, there were certain things that those in power felt was indecent. Maybe saying that a president was a thief or a minister was a thief is indecent. In our culture as Africans, that's indecent. Today, we don't feel the same way. So what is decent and what is not decent, what is false and what is true, some of these things can be very relative. And it's important that competition drives out bad ideas by letting better ideas prevail.